Well, let's lead off with that. Coach, a lot of home opportunities to start the season. How excited are you just to get back out on the diamond?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think our team's excited. Opening day's always special, right? I think if you're a baseball person. So our group's excited. We've been together quite a bit. They've been going at it pretty good, on the field with each other. So I say this every year, but the pitchers are ready to see someone else and the hitters are ready to see someone else. So we'll do that here Friday versus Nevada. We've got a 4-game set with them before traveling over to Globe Life to play OU next Wednesday, I think.
I'm always curious to hear what a coach says when I ask this, but looking at last year's team as opposed to this year's team, a couple differences. What do you feel like is most different about this year's squad?
Yeah, experience is the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, we lost so many good players that have helped us win a championship in 21. Those guys have kind of gone on now, and we've got some guys back that played big roles in that. We've Tanner Tweed's back. Bash Randall's back, Tatro, Miller. There's a lot of guys throughout the field, I feel like, that have been on the field in some big moments in our program's history, which is great. And we've leaned on them quite a bit from a leadership standpoint, and we've added some neat pieces. I like our group. I think our depth on the mound is by far deeper than it's been, I think, during our tenure here. They've got to go out and perform, but from a talent standpoint, I feel good about where we are there. And then we've added some versatile pieces. The first couple of weeks, there's going to be a lot of different people playing a lot of different positions, more than likely. So the experience is the one thing that it's just hard to replace that, until you get more experience, under your belt. So, but I think we got a competitive group, which I don't know. We want to be known for guys that like to compete and the toughness aspect of it. So hopefully that'll be on display as we open up this week.
Every season's a marathon. Taking a look to get off to the races, what are a few things that you'd like to see this week?
Yeah, it's always just play clean. I think pitching and defense early on, traditionally speaking in our sport, the pitching should be a little bit more out in front. Not always the case, but early on, I think more teams probably lose games than win. So controlling the strike zone, timely hitting, all the cliche things. But I think they really, really are magnified early in the year. So we'll throw, give it our best shot and throw our best punch inning by inning. And, there's always going to be we'll have some new pieces that are in roles that they've never been in, which is exciting. But we'll see how it plays out over 4 games versus Nevada.
Last year, I remember seeing how big of a crowd that was here when Texas Tech came to town. A lot of big teams as well. You're going to get to host this year. I mean, how exciting is that? Yeah, well, I mean, we want to play a challenging schedule. We recruit players that want to play a challenging schedule. I think, and I've shared this with our team and people that are internal in our program, I don't think any team at ACU's ever had a more challenging schedule. That sounds really cool here early February. But we know there's speed bump after speed bump after speed bump each week. There's just not a game that you can look at on our schedule the first 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks, you're going to have to play real well to win. And sometimes you can play well and not win. That's probably going to be our biggest challenge as a staff is when you go play OU and you play a complete baseball game, you're not guaranteed to win, versus when you do that against some other teams possibly. So, no, we've got Nebraska coming here. When you look at the Power 5 group, Nebraska, Baylor, TCU, Tech again. I feel like I'm forgetting someone there. We go to Texas to play. The OU game at Globe Life will be a really neat experience for our team and program and just the Metroplex itself. There's so many ACU people there. So, no, it's going to be exciting. I think we want everyone in the big country to come out. We want to put together a schedule that attracts them to come out and support our guys. Hopefully wearing purple. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. But it's growing. It's been great. We're excited about the opportunity to compete against the country's best. And, we've got a few wins against those teams over the last couple of years. So we'll see if we can add to that signature win category as we move forward.
How great is it to not play Lamar this year? No, I'm kidding. First thing I want to talk about is obviously OU. The last game that they played was in the World Series. Is that kind of a lot of pressure on the guys, knowing coming in that, well, not their first opponent, it'll be this weekend, but knowing that they were in the World Series last year?
No, I think I think a lot, OU they do a great job recruiting the Metroplex. I think there's a lot of guys on that roster that we've actually recruited that are guys that probably played with. So there's going to be some familiar faces. I think our guys are going to show up expecting to win, even though the way last year ended with them and the opportunity to play in Omaha, that's something that we're obviously trying to chase down. And it'll be neat to see the OU on the uniform. I think maybe for some of y'all and maybe some of our fans, us internally, we're going to go in to try to play 9 innings of baseball and win a baseball game. So the Globe Life thing is probably going to be more cool, I think, for our group to play where the Rangers play, and especially our guys in the Metroplex that just kind of grew up, Rangers fans. So now the venue is going to be neat. The opponents obviously got some hallowed tradition, and you put those two together with our first time playing there, new group, new team. I think we're all excited about it.
So you lose 13 seniors, you bring in 20 people into this new roster. So I think I know who's going to start Friday.
Yeah.
I ask you who's starting Friday on the mound, and who's kind of going to take over Colton Eager's right field. So I'm talk about you said you're moving people around if they're not playing in certain. So what does that look like?
Yeah, Tyler will start on Friday. Tyler's been a guy that's grown up in our program and has developed literally each and every year. I think he's a better pitcher now than he was in the fall. I think he was a better pitcher the fall than he was in the spring. So he's got an elite work ethic and a competitive streak with him. So he'll take the ball first here at home on Friday. When you look at the field, I think familiar faces, Grayson Tatro's back. He'll be in the outfield to some degree. We've added some pieces in the outfield. I think, and I'll leave out some names, but Miller, Tatro, you'll see Aaron Staley at some point. We've added Logan Britt as one of our new, so I would expect him to be right in the middle of things as we go through. So Eager's going to be tough to replace for sure. That's a former Player of the Year in the South and an all-conference performer, but just someone that was so steady for his whole career here. So. Never got sped up. There's just some value in guys that have that experience. So, but now it's Miller's turn and it's Grayson's turn and some of those other guys to kind of be that solid piece in the middle of the lineup, which they've got some experience doing. So, like I said, you'll see some people, probably all over the place, which I think as we go out and recruit, we want to be really strong up the middle, catcher, pitcher, shortstop, second base, and center field. We've got a few guys that can play center. So now we've got one center fielder with a guy playing, right field, left field that can play center as well. So I feel like this is our best defensive unit we've had from an athleticism standpoint. Now we got to go play. But on paper, the metrics, the speed, I feel really good about where we are there in the outfield.
4-game series, so you're having a pretty long weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. What's the toll going to be like on their bodies, and having to rotate some guys out and get some guys some rest time? Yeah,
good question. We'll manage it as we go through. I think our guys are excited about the opportunity to go out there and compete. It's 4 straight days, 9 innings. You always second guess yourself when you put these schedules together, but just with our travel, being the outpost here, midweek games, class schedules, WAC travel, it's just better for us to try to book in 4, 4, and 4 early. Honestly, it forces me to throw more pitchers early on to try to, let some roles be established. So, I think that's a great opportunity for a lot of guys that may not get that in a 3-game series over the course of a weekend. So, I think when you look at it and we're going to play 4 plus the OU game, that's 9, I think, in the first 10 days. So we like to manage our pitchers in a healthy way too. So there won't be a whole lot of back-to-backs there. So will we spell guys? No. I think our guys are ready to go play. If they need it, we'll give it to them. But I think our strength coach does an outstanding job. We've tried to build up the innings, in terms of how we're scrimmaging and the way it's structured and the times we've scrimmaged to try to mimic as best we can what next week's going to look like. Obviously, we can't. In a split squad, you can't get to 36 innings. But we've played 4 straight days the last 2 weeks. The catchers and those guys have kind of taken a beating a little bit, but I think they're ready to play now too. So no, we're excited about 36 opportunities to win some innings, and if we can win more innings than them, then we're probably going to win the baseball game, hopefully. And we'd love to get off to a great start. They're going to be a good opponent.
Kind of just talking about the newcomers, how have you seen them step up and prove that they're ready for the competition in the season ahead?
Yeah, I think the way we structure things, Kaylee, when you look at start to finish in the fall, we want to put those newer guys in positions that we feel like they could potentially be in, or maybe positions that they're not going to be in, I think as we start the spring. So every one of our pitchers has probably been in a 9th inning scenario at some point since they've been here, whether they're new or returning. That lets you evaluate who can handle maybe some of those heated moments and who's not ready or who needs to do some things to become ready. So I think when you look at it, on the pitching side, we've got some pieces back. Tanner Riley's gone. He was really good for us the last couple of years and just finishing out games, when we had the lead. I think Blake Anderson will do a great job in that role this year, as a newer player. We've got some other guys. We've got some young players, young pitchers specifically speaking, that'll have an opportunity to pitch the first weekend. Same with transfers. So I think when you look at it, our old guys, as I mentioned, have done a really good job of leading that. Like, I think when we don't discuss classes a lot in our program, like the freshmen, sophomore, juniors, it's our program, it's our team. So the older guys are here, the more they need to serve the younger group to make sure they're ready to lead, and I think that's, when you look at it across college baseball, there's going to be some teams that are continuing to be old. I think we do have some older pieces, experienced pieces, but how quick can you get the newer guys up to speed is probably going to be, how, if we get out to a great start, that's why. If we don't, then they're going to have to grow into some of those roles probably.
Yeah, and I know you talked about Bash being one of your top players. He's just now coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was named preseason for the WAC.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of like getting him back into the swing of things for this season.
Yeah. No, we're excited about Bash. He's been a really good player for us for 2 years. He's got a lot of experience. We want to recruit young people we feel like they can help us win a championship, right? So Bash jumped on the field from day one. All conference, I guess, his freshman year in the South, and all conference last year, preseason all conference this year. And that's a tough position to become all conference. There's some really good shortstops in our league. So he's as well just kind of progressed. I think the experience helps with that, and he'll take another step forward this year, I hope, in terms of what we expect from him in the lineup potentially, obviously in the field and everything else. So good to have your shortstop back, and have 2 more years with him too, hopefully.
What's the fit look like on Friday? What's the
uniforms?
Y'all are into that.
We're going Friday. It's Friday night pinstripes. So we'll go pinstripe, cream, purple pinstripe, purple jersey pinstripe, and then Monday we'll break out the blacks for the 4th game. So what do you want us to wear at OU next week?
I really like the blacks.
You like the blacks?
Blacks are my favorite. If not the creams are second.
The creams are second?
Y'all are home, I know that, so whatever you want to do.
We'll figure that out.
I'll talk to them and see what they're doing.
Please do. Yeah.
Okay, did you watch the halftime performance?
Oh, yes, I did. Guilty.
Did she live up to your hype going in?
Politically correct, I'll give it a 4. 4 out of 10 in our program. But that's not my jam. That's not my genre. Last year, 10.
Did you cry like Cerrone and the Chris Stapleton?
No, I missed both of those. So
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Work a long time to get to those spots.
Did you have a favorite song that she sang?
No, I couldn't tell you one of them. Sorry. My players are probably laughing at that one, but I know they were really excited.
Oh, they probably were.
They were charged up and ready. Me, on the other hand, is just a normal Sunday night at the McCarty house. So
this guy has a life,
I don't have a life. I really don't. So, which is fine with me.
He had a live Saturday. He literally was out there on the mic and then comes out and he's going to do signings, but he has to watch his daughter also perform at halftime and then come out and do the signings with everyone. So he was pretty busy Saturday.
No.
That's a life.
ACU is a family place, Raven. So little kids all around. So thank you guys.
Okay.
Appreciate it.